All right, I should probably start doing some mic tests before these streams. Yeah. Let me check. Yep. Blah, blah. Okay. Sensitivity seems fine. And volume. Compression chain is working. Dude, how is my RAM being used so much? That's one thing I'll love about switching to Linux, most likely, is how much less memory it uses. I will say it could have a lot less processes running at once, but it's way better than the Windows situation. I'm just letting nobody special know. It's so funny to say that. Guess I got used to it. Alright, so we are back at PSBB. It's been a while since last stream. I did some stuff on it and stopped. So here's what. I have been recently playing around with something called Fossil SCM. Yeah. So admit you like Fossil because you're old as hell. Gosh. Fuck. He knows. Who told you so? Who told you I am 500 years old? Gosh, people keep finding it out. Like, this is the 10th name I have used, and people always figure it out, man. Like, I've got to start doing something different. Ugh. Anyway. So I have a Git repository here. Do I have actual commits? It's like, nah, right? I don't even bother writing commits. Because it's so bad. This thing is so bad. I'm going to remove .git. Fuck it. Alright, so in order to use Fossil, what you do is you create a database, yeah? And then it's an SQLite database. And then you start, you check out a repository, like a local working tree from that, right? And you can check out multiple working trees from one repository, unlike Git, right? With Git, the working copy thing is a repository, right? Or like a full clone of the repository. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fossil init, and then I'm going to give it a name. So you need to give it the path to a file, right? And it's going to create an SQLite database with that name. And it's common to make it have the .fossil extension, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do psbb.fossil. Now you could see that I had something there called admin username, or our admin name. I don't really know. Let me see. Fossil init. Help init. There you go. It's admin user. Okay, so I'm going to do fossil init psbb.fossil. And you know, I'm not gonna have multiple checkouts of it. I don't plan on having that. I don't think I'm gonna need it. And because I don't plan on like distributing PSBB like most stuff, I don't think it's useful to like, yeah, make use Git here. But I know it has some stuff you can enable to have Git compatibility or something. I'll take a look at that later. And when I want to publish this thing, if I ever want to, and I think I will, I'll just like, I don't know, go to GitHub and just make a single commit thingy. That's it for every release. So, okay, I'm gonna have admin user, and it's going to be Volatxs. And we're gonna have project name, and it's going to be PSBB, and project description, and it's going to be programmers static blog builder. I mean, that should be sufficient description. Okay, now you can see there's a file here called psbb.fossil, right? And so I cannot use stuff yet because I'm not in a checked out directory of fossil. I just have that file, and I can move that file anywhere, right? Like this file is the repository. I can, right? So like all I need to do to back up the repository is just copy that file somewhere, right? I could like compress it or just archive it, and yeah, I mean archiving it without compressing it would be a bit stupid, but I could just compress it and archive it with a format like 7-zip and just send it to something like I don't know, some external storage or cloud storage or whatever, or just copy it somewhere else. Like that is the entire like repository thing. But I want to work in copy to work on it. So what I gotta do is fossil open and pass it the psbb.fossil thing, right? I just pass one of these files I created to it, right? So usually you would have like the fossil database thing, and then you would go somewhere you want to work on it on your local computer, and you would just fossil open it, right? But if I do that command, you can see it is not going to let me do it because I'm not in an empty directory, which is the usual way to do it. And to prevent you from like doing it by mistake or something, they don't let you do it unless you do force. So that's what I'm gonna do. So there you go. As you can see, it put me in a local copy of the PSBB project. I'm currently in the trunk branch, and the description of the commit is initial empty check-in. It was made by user Volatxs, which is me. And if I see my files, I see an additional file now called fossil_fossil_. And your local repos are going to have that thing. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do fossil user default Volatxs. So it tries to use that user instead of like my admin user. Okay, now I'm ready to start doing stuff with it. Okay. So if I do fossil status, that's all it gives me. It is not tracking any file, yeah? But before I do something, I would do fossil settings. I'm gonna find, yeah, that's what I wanted. So there's this setting called crlf glob. And I think I can do fossil settings. Let me do fossil help settings. Okay, fossil settings. And then I can do crlf glob, and I can set it to star. What am I doing wrong? Oh yeah, it has to be global, so it sets it on the repository itself, and not just like on my current checkout. What is wrong? Am I doing something wrong? I think did you like set? I forgot. I had already done it before. Wait, what is wrong? Um. Okay. What if I global here? Well, I'm doing something wrong, I think. Because I could do this before. Did I forget to do something? Like, if I just do fossil settings, CRLF, glob, it just says that. And I say star. Set. What happened? Oh, I set it to set. If I do set, like, I can do that, but I cannot do star. Oh, maybe because it's like this. Like, what am I doing wrong? What is going on? I think it's something my shell's doing. Like, it's trying to interpret star as something special. I think. Well, seems it worked. I don't know. Just because I'm on Windows and it's going to keep trying to do the CRLF convert thing and stuff, and I don't want it. Alright, I think I'm ready to start working on stuff. And just like, I'll commit everything to it right now. So I'm going to git. Sorry. That's not git. It's fossil. I'm too used to it. Fuck. Right, I'm going to fossil add. I haven't tried adding a bunch of shit. Can I just do everything? So it added. Oh, no. We do not want to add those. I typed git again. rm build /star. Yeah, I do not want that. No. That's the build stuff. Fossil status now. Okay, it's looking at license. Config. Oh, what is this local stuff? Oh, okay, this is my local repo for tests. Okay, I'm also going to fossil remove. Does it not have an equivalent to git add dot for adding everything? Hopefully not, because git add dot is stupid. Because dot is also for current directory, right? So I don't know. I'll check. Hold on. Let me just remove local /star and check that it's not there. Okay, so it has license, PSBB red debugger. I'm also going to remove. I don't know. It's just something I learned to do. Like, I don't commit like user specific stuff, like editor stuff and debugger. Like, whoever works in this can use whatever debugger they want. So now it has license, Raven file, help.txt, main, and test.psbb. Oh yeah, test.psbb is also not something I want to commit. Finally, it only has my source files, a Raven file, and license. Cool. Let me check the thing you asked me to check before, just to help add betless. It doesn't mention. Does fossil RAM not also delete the file from your system? No. I know that because I had read it beforehand. So if I do ls, you can see they're still here, like build and local and test.psbb and psbb.rdbg are all here still. You can make it remove it from your file, but that's from your file system, but it doesn't remove it by default, if I recall correctly. The rm and delete commands do not normally remove the files from disk. They just mark the files as no longer being part of the project. Yeah. And you can do dash hard, and then they do. In Git, you have to pass cached, I think. In order to not remove it. Or to remove it. I don't recall. It's been a huge while since I've ever used Git RM. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like it has a dot thing. Honestly, thank God. I haven't tried partially committing stuff. Do you do like commit but you ignore stuff? What do you do? Oh no, you just add the stuff you wanna. Oh yeah, that's true. Anyway, so now with this, I will fossil. Oh, also fossil settings. Find editor. Okay, it's nvim. Good. Good. That's good. Okay. So let me fossil commit. And I'm going to say page settings parsing. I'm going to say implement page settings parsing. And there we go. And now fossil timeline has it. There we go. That's it. I'm on trunk. Yeah. All right. I need to see something. Does this create directory? Good. Very good. Oh, am I missing one? Vet says colon vet using param. Am I missing something? I think I'm missing something. Odin build help. I have vat. Vat semicolon, vat style. Vat using param. Oh, there's vat. No, vat using statement is fine. Warnings as errors. Something you want as well. Enough? Yeah. Do you know Fossil has a git ignore equivalent? Yes. It has a setting. So if I do Fossil settings, something glob. Sorry, find glob. It has this thing called ignore glob. So you can just set ignore glob to a comma separated list of globs, and it's going to ignore them. Okay. So, in the last episode, I had gotten this to... Okay, I'm just going to do something. I'm sorry, but I'm going to do flags dev. That's minus O none. And then release, and then debug. I usually do this. It's going to be speed. This has to have debug. And then what do I usually want here? Oh, it's down there. Okay, disable assert. No bounds check. Warnings as errors is already added to the top thingy. Do you want anything else? I don't think so. I think that's usually what I add. Okay. Okay. And I call this strict flags usually nowadays. Strict flags. Okay. Strict flags. And strict flags. Also... Okay, I'll just say flag staff here because I can. And I'll say flags DB here. And oh shit, sorry. Flags release. There we go. Interesting that you turn off bounce check entirely in your release build. Yeah, because I rarely do release builds. Like when I do release builds, I have already thoroughly tested the thing, you know? And so I am usually quite sure that nothing's going to be hit. I also disable asserts, as I have done similar tests. Right? Like, in places where it usually matters, there are usually two things which occur, which is like either... Sorry, that's not how to do comments in Lua. Either I'm doing something wrong and it will always break bounce check, which means I'll catch it while developing, or it's something that has a good chance of hitting a bounce check due to unknown initial params. So for this, the solution here is I just catch it early. And here, it is just, I'll either have tests that will catch this kind of thing, because when I'm writing it, I'll already be like, oh, what if they do this, they do that. And otherwise, I just actually guarantee through code. Like, you cannot do this because it's going to break bounce check and stuff. Yeah. I also disable asserts, but I usually leave on bounce checks. Yeah. I don't know. If it's for a game, I'll disable bounce check though. Get every free spit win I get. Yeah. At this point, bro, let's do -0 aggressive, yeah? I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is my usual configuration right here. Oh, you're saying, why is this warnings as errors, bro? This is Odin check. And then there's strict flags. Okay. Also, what do you think about the whimsical music in the background? Just so I know. Okay. So now I've changed that. As you can see, if I do... It's not fucking good. If I do relaxing, that's good. That's the idea. I didn't want absolute silence. I understand the appeal of absolute silence is like, oh, everyone can pick their own music and stuff, and like, cool, but it actually helps me concentrate if I have something playing, but not if I have something too loud playing or something with enough momentaneous contrasts where elements of the thing are very noticeable and I get distracted. So I don't know, these whimsical ass songs. Why don't you just have it play for you alone? That is very fair. Would you prefer that? I think I can do that. Like, all I need to do is route my browser to another channel. I don't care. Fair. So moving on. What did I do? Oh, I typed settings. I don't know why I did this. I meant to type status. So, as you can see, it sees that I have edited ravenfile.lua, but it's not going to do anything about it. Okay. So I'm just going to do fossil add ravenfile.lua. Oh no, I think actually by default, like it's already like tracking it, right? Interesting. I didn't think about that for some reason. You'd think that's a very like how do I not commit that? Like if I do fossil commit, it is going to say this. Yes? How do I say I had just opened commit but didn't read it. I did not read it. Can I say like ignore things or something? Allow stuff? No, that's not what I want. Oh, I can set the editor through that. Okay. Message for dry run. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what he does. So if I just do fossil commit, it just commits everything. But if I do fossil commit and then list of files, it goes like, oh, okay, I'm only going to commit the changes or start tracking maybe those files. Ah, I see. Anyway, in my case, that's not what I want. I just want to commit. Add. No. Just update Raven file. It's gonna. Okay, I know that's stupid, but like, yeah. So, last time, as I was saying, last time in PSBB thing, I was writing the. Oh, you guys will maybe notice my theme is a bit different because it is. It's a little bit more purplish because it is. So I noticed I was doing something wrong when parsing settings. And the thing I was doing wrong when parsing settings, if I can find a place where I parse the settings, and I think it is here when parsing the settings, when I get to the settings, here, this point. What? Okay, I'm going to go through these to-dos. Oh, okay, this is what I want to do. So, currently I'm doing very dumb stuff. Because if you give me stuff with escaped stuff, I just copy it literally. So if you say something, for instance, so a setting line can have these escape sequences, right? So the way I do it is you can just do / something and the something is ignored. Whatever it is. Like it's just skipped. That's the idea. But then the actual character should be inserted, right? And that's not what I'm doing. So right here, as you can see, I have / output, because a dash usually starts a dash line like this, and a / because a colon usually says, hey, the setting name has ended, start the value. And I also have no, that's it. Okay. And then if I do Raven, I forgot what the name of the thing is. It's Raven PSBB. As you can see, the page settings it gets has this thing. Let me do something, because those things are only clutter right here. As you can see, oh. Sorry, this thing has nothing to do with anything, actually. I should actually be editing Sorry, I forgot. I moved it to here. Should be input dir settings. Right, this is what I was testing. So, wait, what? What? Wait, how does it know this is a comment? Did I create a syntax file for PSBB? How did what? Is it just, I don't know, it's just presuming? I don't know. Anyway, so let me just like get this last line there. Maybe XYZ and then ABC. I was wrong. No template. Okay, sorry, I have to say like some template X. Okay, finally, you can see the problem here. It says the template is X, but look at this. The key is actually XYZ backslash colon ABC exclamation mark. Right? It didn't escape the thing. Like this backslash should not be here. And you need to make a function that does that. You see? So, I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Maybe I'll call it a clean escaped string. I'll create it right above it because I'm using it right here. Clean escaped, clear escaped string. Maybe. Oh. Holy shit. Okay. So first, I need to trimmed strings.trim space. This name is dumb, by the way, because it should be spaces. Anyway, str. Okay, is it worth even doing this? I don't think trim space. Okay, I'm going to do this, but maybe that's not the best thing to do. And I'm going to do something very stupid, which I should be using a temporary allocator for, maybe. Well, not really, because I'm going to use the stuff that is generated. Okay, I'm going to create a string builder. Oh, okay. So that's strings.builder init. And I'm going to have to reference this, I think. And I think I can pass a size to it, right? A length. Expect it to be like trimmed, like the same length as trimmed. Because like in the worst case, it's going to copy every character from it. And so just for C in, char, C, say char and trimmed. If char is this, sorry. Okay, if the char is a backslash, it's like I should write the thing that's after it. Right, so to have this kind of control, I just say I, 0, I less than length. Of trimmed. That's it. And I'm just going to manually do this because I can make this condition not run. Okay, so if the char is a backslash, I plus equals... No, I have to be smart because there's the one condition that the next character may be also a backslash, yes? I have a char variable anymore. Sorry, I'm stupid. It's supposed to be trimmed I. Thank you. What I can do is I can just skip it here and make it use the next character as the thing that it's going to write, but it also means there's a possibility of the next character being out of bounds. So it may look stupid, but what I'm going to do is I plus equals 1. I do the same mistake all the time as well when changing up my for loop. Yeah. So, okay, what I'm going to do is, if it's a backslash, advance 1, and then I'm just going to write whatever current char it is and add 1. Right? So when it finds a backslash, it goes forward and write whatever that is. But if it goes forward, it has to check whether thing is within bounds. I'm just trying to think if there's a way of not having to check for the bounds twice, you know? Because I can just go here and write like, oh, okay, well, if I greater than or equal to length of trimmed break. That's easy. But I'm trying to think if I could just use this to not need this, you know? And I don't know. You know what I'll do? Since that's like the first thing that my brain just thought of, it's probably not the worst solution. So I'll just leave it be. Okay? Okay, so I will have written things to the string builder, and I can then just do return strings.toString. Is that how you do it? I think it is, right? ToString string builder, or like this, something like this, right? We can check. So I think it's going to be core strings builder. ToString. String. Yeah, it seems to be the case. And it seems like it doesn't need a pointer. Good. So that should be it. Okay, so back to here. First place in which I use it would be here. So I would do setting name is clear escaped string, and it would be from the start of the line up to before the colon, right? And then U would be clear escaped string from after the colon to the end index, which is past the end. Okay, so I can remove this to do. That should be better now, and I can test it by doing Riven Dev first. And it fails to build because builder init doesn't work like that. Cannot assign that of type pointer to builder in assignment. Oh, he doesn't want a pointer? That's weird. Sorry, am I understanding you wrong? Wait. Okay, so the return value of this is a builder pointer. What am I doing? That's not an initialization pattern. That's not what you do. You don't assign it. You just do it. Sorry. Okay. And now Raven PSBB. And it failed. No template. Okay, man. Wait, what? No, that's wrong. That's bad. What is it saying? Panic. No template for page. What do you mean? It's clearly in page settings. Unless this page has some dark secret. But like, it does seem like it is here. time to debug, I guess. Sorry. So after it does parse settings, then okay, this parse page. Then here, this is the check that's failing. Line 501. Okay, let's do Raven debug, and it is going to do that. Okay, let me open red. What am I saying? It's remedy. It's remedy BG. It's not red. Okay. Okay, so I have a bunch of breakpoints for the last thing that I was experimenting with. If I go to line 501, that's what I want to test. Do you have the correct parameters? It seems like we do. I use the far superior GDB. Oh yes, far superior. Keep telling yourself that. Okay, and then I want to remove. Actually, I'll have to do that manually. Local/output there, because it's not gonna be able to do it itself. Okay, so we are here and page. Oh fuck. Okay, that's a problem. It's kind of stupid and bad to like check for values and maps and Odin. Yeah. Maybe you don't want to come to Linux after all. I mean, Linux is NND, yeah? Oh, what is going on? What is this? I'm seeing something weird. Hold on. Let me Raven PSBB again. What is... What? At least Thag keeps telling me there's NND, bro. But I mean, I'm fine. I will adjust to whatever tools I have to do. Or write my own, because like, come on, I'm on that arc. Yes! That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Just make the Odin debugger. ODB. Ginger Bug Eater. GBE. That's nice. That's a nice name. Anyway, so it enters this condition, yeah? Because template is not in page data.settings. Now, here's what I'm gonna do so I can actually debug this. And that may sound stupid, but I'm gonna do for setting name, setting value, because I think that's how you do it in page data.settings. Print f line dash space ss setting name setting value Raven developer thing PSBB. Okay, so now I need to stop this one from running and Raven debug. We should do that. I really want to do it, especially for game development. I love to have a debugger that you can pass custom shaders to and see the data in your debugger as passed through a shader. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. I think debuggers are an area that's lacking a lot, like very heavily. We do not have many good debugger solutions. Even Remedy BG isn't perfect, right? And I would say the standards like we have for communication, which are very important, despite some people thinking they aren't, are not so great, right? We have like, I don't know, what is there? There's one that's kind of good. Is it called Gnome? No, it's called Dwarf. Yeah. But I mean, I don't think any of them is like really, really good, you know? And maybe we can have something better in that area as well. But it's just you don't have as many options, and the options you have are not really great. Like none of them is really like, oh yeah, that's the thing, right? Which is weird if you think about it. But it's mostly solved because as a programmer that is not afraid to write code, unlike like people who are strictly web developers and stuff, you just go and write your own tools, right? So when you want to debug something, you write something which helps you debug the thing, and maybe you make it something you can enable through a little flag you can pass while compiling or something. Very easy to do if you use Odin, by the way. So, oh shit, I did something. Okay. So now I can actually go to my debugger, and I want a breakpoint specifically. Where is it? Have I written the file? I have. It's in line 501. Oh, I am here. Okay, I want to go inside of it. Bro? Oh, yes, it's because I need to remove the directory, otherwise it explodes, right? Yeah, my bad. But I would need to think more, really. Right? If I'm being totally honest, I would need to think more about what I'm doing. Because I haven't thought about debuggers. Right? Not really. Okay, let's see what the problem is. So, oh, that's bad. What is all of this data? Oh. Okay, that is bad. There's a bunch of data before the name. Okay. This is clearly doing something wrong. Okay, I think I'll have to debug clear. Okay, let me have the debugger here too, but I really want parse use what I want, and I want to go here, and I want to restart, and it's going to fail. Fuck you. Okay, let's try again. Here we go. Enter this function. Okay, that's the slice bounce check thingy. No, not really. It's just a slicing thing. Okay, so let's go back. Let's try again. Okay, here we are. First of all, let's see what our string is, right? So if we do str.data and string with str.length, here we go. We get this. Okay, it's the path. What? Ha! I have not heard anything you said for the past 5 minutes. Power just went out to my whole house on my phone now. Do you think you get power back soon? What happened? Pigs are eating the cables. The pigs are eating the cables. Let me just check something real quick. Please do not open. Oh, okay. Why does it do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? I open my own stream and it opens unmuted. Right. Just checking if my stream didn't fucking explode for reasons. So this is doing something. Why is it being called with this path? What? Okay, it was buggy. There's a storm brewing. Wind picked up and the power went out. Probably a damaged line. Don't know how soon it will be fixed. Oh, I've experienced that a number of times in my life. I know how it be. I know how it be. Sometimes it comes back after a while because it's just like instability caused by the weather. But there's also the times where it just never comes back. Like in the day, and you have to wait until tomorrow. Yeah. Sadly happens. I think this was bugged or something. Oh yes, this was bugged. Because original string is just template. Okay. I want to just get this, and I'm going to see what trimmed returns. What does trimmed return? Trimmed is in fact also template. Now, trimmed.length is 8, which is the exact size of template. Nothing wrong here, and it seems like it begins at the right point. Okay, I am not going to wait for it to do stuff. I'm just going to jump to here. And then I will be able to see if I do. I forgot that. This reminds me, I need to install a battery backup on my PC. It would be nice if I could have a chance to safely shut it down. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, and also you would be safer in situations where power goes out, I suppose. So what I want to see now is sb.buff. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah. I want to see sb.buff. Dot data string sb.buff dot length. Yeah, it's fucked. Yeah, it's fucked. It's fucked. Why is it writing to the... Okay, Wait. I think I understood the initializer incorrectly. I think that's what I just did. Yeah? Probably. So... Builder init. Length cap. Oh, yes, I did wrong thing. And if you do wrong thing go wrong. It's supposed to be 0 length trimmed. And now I can Raven... Dav and Raven PSBB, and it works. Okay, and I can see that ABC exclamation mark equals content, and there's no backslashes in it. Quite marvelous. Okay. Now, this does mean I am allocating. Okay. Which does mean when I don't need it anymore, I need to delete all of that. Okay, so I'm going to use the page settings. Should I cache it? Should I cache it? Should I do it? Should I do that? Should I do the thing? Should I be able to have a template, ask for a page to be parsed? Big question. Because it does introduce recursion, and it does Remove guarantees. You see? Okay. Dude, I wish Twitch would let people... Oh, people can watch my stream in different qualities. I didn't know that. But I know that you need to do something for that to be possible. It's like not usually possible for other streamers. You have to like, you can only watch it in full quality. Which is very bad.
They did not.
Oh,
They didn't.
shit. Okay. Can you not? I was going to check if I can enter some other stream and change the quality. Oh, Anne is streaming Odin. Let me see if I can change it on her thing. I can. Is she also an affiliate? I mean, she has 320 followers. Okay. I'll check it later because I need to find someone who doesn't have 100+ followers. Anyway, so I didn't have anything before where you could just like insert a page. Also, I should be careful because then you can insert the page into itself and then boom. I'm not gonna do that right now. Okay, it's a possibility. But I cannot think of many things that I want to really do with that. And it makes what I'm doing way harder to cover what is actually an edge case. So I don't think it's worth it. And I'm not gonna do it. Alright, so I'm going to be parsing the page here. And setting the content and rendering the HTML and then writing it to output. Maybe here should defer a for block. Can I do that? I think I can. Defer for setting name, setting value in page data dot settings. Delete setting name, setting value. Which is usually something I don't need to do. Because... No, that's not... What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? You don't do that. You don't do that. Because, you know, the program would finish, so I prefer to delegate exploding the program to the operating system, not me. But in this case, as you will be parsing a number of different pages, that would just be memory which is left out, right? Right. It would be memory. Okay, and okay, that takes care of that. Because I'm guaranteeing that all of them are going to be at least copied effectively, right? I'm going to do one thing. Well, I'm going to take notes of one thing. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, what is it? What is it? Is it opportunity? What did I call it? It's not opportunity, because Optim, I use Optim to say, hey, I optimized this. I want to say like, hey, here's a place where you can do things. Okay, wait. Improve. Improve. Actually, this improve should be here. If I check for the presence of escapes first and don't find any, I can just use the string, the trimmed string, and then I don't have to allocate a new one. This requires extra tracking, so I don't try to free it, to free strings I didn't allocate though. Okay. So with that, that's fixed. Next thing would be beginning to parse. What's this? Okay, I'm just have my settings up. Okay. Okay, let's parse pages. Let's parse pages. You're done parsing. You're done parsing settings. There's template. Where do I test for template again? I do if template not in or whatever, and that's not very good. Not very good. Okay, because then X is later again, right? Okay, page template path. Oh yeah, this has to be verified because I can say complete garbage in the template. Yeah. So will parse template have to do that? Because that would be weird. I should check for it right here, right? So I just say page template paths, page data template, template. Okay, template. Okay, yeah. And then, if not template okay, I do this. I don't have to like access it again. I can just do page template path. Okay. So also I need to check if the template exists. So it should be input folder / the template path .html, yeah? Okay, block. I'll say check whether the template path points to an existing template. And then we'll just say I have to do os2.path join or join path. I never know. Is it join path? It is join path. Yeah, as you can see, I never know. And so it has to be the input dir, which is, I don't recall. Do I have access to state here? I do, right? So I can do state, input, dir path, followed by page template path, followed by HTML extension. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it. Actually, I need to join first. I've had this problem earlier. I did it wrong. Was it at the top there? Yes. So say template file name was to strings dot join page template path HTML extension. Oh, just noticed something. This is wrong. Because this is not used anymore past that. So defer delete output file name. Yeah. What? Wait. Oh, I use it down there. Okay. I was like, what? Okay, I'll probably need the actual path out here. Okay, this, however, is a different scenario from pages, because while every page I currently presume is going to be parsed once, multiple pages can use the same template again and again. And I believe it would be foolish of me to just read the template contents again and again and again. Right? I'm dealing with the OS. So I had written a function, and I don't know if it's obsolete at this point because it has been a while. Specifically for that, here's parse template, and that's not what it is, but it is this get template source. So what it does is you give it a path, and what it oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's incorrect on my part too, actually. This is supposed to be template, do your path. Okay, okay, this thing is not going to have the job of actually expanding the thing and whatever. And then I do it, and I do get absolute path. Oh yeah, I remember. I do get absolute path in order to normalize it. So, you know, if you do something like ... slash templates slash thing, and it was already in templates, and then in some other page you do like just thing, these two can be resolved to the same thing, because when they get normalized, quote unquote, they point to the same place. All right, so I just do... I'm pondering whether I should expand it here or inside of this function. I do want to catch whether it exists or not here. But I'm thinking I could maybe just have this return whether it was found or not. Which would be terrible error handling, perhaps. It would perhaps be terrible error handling. Okay, I'll say relative path. I'll parse it at the top here, and that may be a mistake, but I'm making that decision because I need to make progress. Okay. So I'll take relative path, and then I'll create the full path, which I'm apparently destroying later. Yeah. To create a full path, I do allocate printf, and it's just template dir path and this thing. And instead of doing this, of course, I could just do os2 dot join path. And I could pass these two things instead. And does this take an allocator? Don't know why I think it does. Join path. It does require an allocator. Allocator. Okay. Raw path? I mean, okay. And then I try to do get absolute path from the raw path. Okay, it failed to expand template path this. Expand path, normalize it. Okay, and then come here. Okay, and if it's already in there, just return the content that's there. Otherwise, if it's not a file, he was not found. Otherwise, read the contents of the file, and if you couldn't, explode. But if you could, get it as a string and set it to be cached, so if you try to get it again, this thing would just return it. There you go. Perfect. Should work perfectly. And so what I need to do here is none of the things I'm doing right now. All I need to do is say template source, get template source, state, page template path. It's definitely best to just do something and fix it later. Analysis paralysis is a big problem for me. Me too. And I think it's something developers struggle with a lot. I also do a lot of game design. Right? Me and a bunch of buddies have a huge RPG system thing we've been doing for years. I think I've talked about it with you before, yeah? And it was a big problem for us, at least at the start, where it would be absolutely stalled when we found decisions we had to make and we didn't know the answer, right? And it occurs when writing software all the time. You just go like, well, I can do it this way and I can do it that way, and you weigh the like pros and cons, and like, if I do it this way, I get this, but then I cannot do that. But if I do it that way, there's this thing, you know, you just keep doing this thing for a huge while and you just waste a lot of time, or you just do a lot of experimentation. So, here's what I do. I'm just going to say this because this is going to YouTube and it may be useful to someone else afterwards, right? Hopefully it's also useful to some...
I need to...
Why is... Don't play streams automatically. Let me close the other Twitch tab. Sorry, guys. Here it goes. Hopefully it helps people who are watching as well. When you're faced with analysis paralysis like this, the first thing I do, and I'm giving tips because I basically managed to solve this problem, and the way I did it just worked for our RPG project. So first, you need to ask yourself a question, which is this thing I'm choosing, right, between two things or more, is this thing I'm choosing a fundamental thing to what I'm doing, right? And fundamental means like required, means foundation of everything, right? It means like almost inseparable from what you're doing. It doesn't mean important, okay? It doesn't mean very important. It means fundamental, okay? They are not the same thing. Fundamental is on another level. It's like you cannot not do your best here. If that's the thing you're doing right now, it is worth stopping and thinking about it, even if it stalls you, okay? Because if you make the wrong decision here, you're going to fuck up everything else. That's what a fundamental thing is. And you should keep in mind, there are very few things like this, okay? So if you're writing your program and you're trying to follow this tip I'm giving you, and every two things, every other thing you have to decide on your program, you're like, oh, it's fundamental. You're probably understanding what fundamental means wrong, you know? Program, you're like, oh, it's fundamental. Fuck Twitch. Alright, so that's what I would say. So first of all, is it fundamental? And if it is fundamental, decide it now. If it isn't, which is the majority of cases, do not decide it now. And here's the logic I follow. If there was an option that was actually very good and it is the thing I should do, you would already know, all right? Because its benefits versus the other things you could do would be very evident, okay? The fact that you were stalled on making a decision is a consequence of your options being somewhat equivalent in the things they give you, right? They're pros versus cons. If one of your options is so bad that the others are so much better than it, you wouldn't even be considering it. And if one of them is just so good that it's better than the others, you would just have chosen it. So the fact you're stalled probably means they're somewhat equally good, all right? And the only way for you to actually solve the problem and like find out which one is better would be to just go and inspect them very deeply to then figure out, hey, there's this thing I couldn't see before that makes this thing the best thing. And usually it's not enough of a difference to matter, right? Like you can just make the 1% less optimal decision and it will basically change nothing about your program working and doing what it should do, all right? So when you have to decide between two things, and you see me doing this a lot, just do one thing. And if it's wrong, you'll fix it later. That's how it works. Because otherwise, you just not write the damn program. Anyway, lesson done. Moving on. So I'll get the template. I'll get the template source. And what I'll do is instead of passing a path to parse template, I will actually pass the actual source that I need to parse. And this is now template source. Now I gotta ask myself, do I pass? Oh yeah, that's consistent. Okay, so I always pass the source and never the path. Very nice, very nice. Data, I pass data as well? Why do I pass data? Of course I pass data, because page data has stuff I need. Very wise words, thank you very much. This wisdom was learned through years of suffering. Like, bro, I promise you, there's no exaggeration in what I'm gonna say right now. Since we started doing this thing, we just progressed like 3 times as much in our RPG system as we did before when we were like getting stuck on random ass stuff. And then we would notice like, oh, we spent like 4 months trying to figure out what the best thing is here. And like, okay, we figured out that this thing is good, but like if we went with the other thing, it wouldn't actually be that bad. And we wouldn't have spent 4 months. We would have spent like 2 days. So, page data is going to be important because page data is going to have information about the page, such as its content, such as It's settings, which may be useful. Consistency? Disgusting. That's the philosophy for the guys that designed the names for Xtism, right? It will never leave my head, man. It's just plugin new, error free. Dude, just create your plugin, an error free plugin, man. It's gonna have no errors. Okay, I'm going to pass data here. I'm going to do state and page data. Why does it take a pointer to page data? I don't know, but I'm going to pass a pointer to page data. It's just something I do. I used to be like, oh, if you're not going to modify the object, do not pass it as a pointer. Otherwise, pass it as a pointer. And then I had to keep doing like this thing right here, dereferencing it to like pass it to places. Yeah, it's horrible. Okay, we can do things now. First of all, let me Raven check to see if there's any problems. And there are problems. Let's fix them first, and then we can move on. First problem. Assignment count mismatch. It gives me 2 things. I'm getting 1 thing. Because this gives me join ERR. And I can then do if join ERR is not nil. I used to have my function explode. And it's such a beautiful function. Guys, I think I'm going to get my explode function here. What do you guys think? Okay. Holy shit, what is going on? What is going on? What did it do? Okay, we're back. I typed something and I split. Sorry, I streamed a little bit. Not intentional, guys. Yeah, I need to improve this. Anyway, I'll try writing from my head. It's like explode, procedure, and then it takes a message, which is a string, and then it takes args, which is variadic any. And then what it does is fmt.eprintf line takes message, expands args, and does os2.exit with -1. I think that's it, or like min int. Something of the sorts. And then what I'm going to do is in my entire file now, I'm going to substitute occurrences of fmt.panicf for explode. And I want it to ask me for confirmation for each of them. Okay, so, oh, here's my to-do. Okay, I want to do it here, and I want to do it here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Yeah. You, and you, and you. Is it all of them? I think it's all of them. Okay. It was all of them. Okay, that's crazy. I can remove this to do now at least, right? Not a to do, it's now a done. Okay, back at it, guys. I was writing the parse template. I was not writing the parse template, guys. I was not. I was fixing the error at line 133 here. If the join error is not nil, then explode by saying failed to join paths this and this. The error messages are not good, okay? Have you considered using log? Yes. Does log have panic? I don't recall. It does. It does. And it logs as fatal. And then it does panic. By the way, I could use this, but I don't know. This is not going to be final version, okay? Because I don't know if I have it to do already. Error. Not this one. Okay, I'm just going to add a to-do. Top level to-do is what I call them right here. I'm going to say improve general error messages user facing. Because it's not very good and I plan on fixing it later, but it's not something I'm focused on right now. All I need right now is for it to just report like something happened when trying to do this. And the specifics are not very important. right? All I need to do is know it happened. So state a template, dir path, and path apparently. What? Path? Where does this come from? Suppose it's relative? Yeah. Relative path is what it's supposed to do. To be, sorry. Then it explodes if that happens. Okay, I'll just run Raven check. And yes, guys, yes, before anyone says something, I know I could be using the use log extensively. I should use log more often, honestly. I just don't for whatever reason. I know that I could be using the NeoVim feature to jump between errors. Okay, the quick fix list. I know I'm not doing that. Okay, forgive me for this grave sin. Line 523 has an error because what happens? Page data is not indexable. Yes, it's not settings. That's right. Page data is just a struct. Why was exit the last command? 529. The problem is too many arguments. It expected 2 arguments, but I'm giving it 3 because the page data that was seen is not here. It's for parse template, which already has it. Okay, that was. It's also good for writing libraries as the log proc is on the context. Yes. Okay, no errors anymore. No compilation mistakes. No compilation errors thing. All right. Now we can start parsing. Let me just test it again. Let me just do Raven PSBB, see if it breaks due to any changes. Does not seem to have broken. Parsing seems to be proper as I expected. Very great, very good. Should I commit things now? I am not going to do that. So, page syntax. Where is page? Here, pages. Okay, there are a few things I want to do first. So the 2 most important things to parse for me is this paragraph thing, which converts like contiguous lines of non-white space, contiguous non-white space lines into one paragraph line. The second thing is template generators, and this is like the big thing I really need to do, right? Perhaps I should count it as a shortcut. Perhaps I should do template generators. So let me read what I wrote. So, okay. A template generator generates content programmatically and has the following structure. So it's name, arguments in square brackets, contents in curly braces. Where name is the name of the generator, the values in square brackets are arguments separated by commas, and whatever lies within the curly braces is the generator's content. Both the arguments and options may be omitted. This can be done by either using empty pairs of square brackets or curly braces, or by omitting the entire thing, including the brackets and braces. Thus, the following are all valid. Okay. Some generators are top-level blocks. These do not automatically get contained in the paragraph element. These may indicate this behavior by being either suffixed or prefixed by the word block. But that's not a rule. Any generator's contents or arguments may span multiple lines. General whitespace is ignored. Arguments often come in the form name equals value. Other times, they exist without a name, such as value. These are collectively known as entries, and individually known as properties and arguments. Okay, I stole this, like not the writing, I wrote it myself, but like I stole the concept from Cuddle. Okay. So the thing is that usually something that's just written becomes a paragraph. But if that something is a template generator, then it doesn't become a paragraph. I mean, okay. Sounds kind of easy enough. Because like what I'm going to do is I'm going to like, okay, for every line, I'm going to skip white space as usual. And then I'm going to have a line with some content. And if it starts... alternatively doable as... so I could do paragraph. My paragraph contents here. Right. I should do something where... where like if you if you have a new line here immediately following the open curly brace, it doesn't include this new line in the content, right? And also if this curly brace is at its own line like it is right now, whatever white space comes before it doesn't count. Okay. I'm considering whether I should do something that Cuddle does. Let me show you guys what I mean. Otherwise, it'll be very confusing to understand what I'm trying to say. Look. Let me open my browser for you guys. Okay. So here is Stream Browser. I think you guys can see it now. So if I go Cuddle, sorry for the eyes, sudden white on the screen. If you look at Cuddle, let me see if it's gonna show it here. So this thing, here's what Cuddle does. When you have a multi-line string like this, the first new line that's directly after the start of the multi-line string, which by the way is required, okay, is not added as part of the string itself. So the string would start here, right? And then it looks at the last, like the closing thing, and it looks at the white space that comes before it, okay? And then if the lines have equivalent white space, they are ignored. So like the string would start here in M and Y, and then a new line, and then it would go space space multi-line, new line, and then value, new line, and that's done. I don't know if the new line here is added. I think it is. All right. So that's how it goes. And I don't know if I should do something like this. So this adds a number of things for me to consider, though. Okay. If I do that, does the user care about it? Does the user care about that? Should I make it procedure specific? I really like the first new line not counting as a concept. Yes, that for me is a must, right? That for me is like specifically those two things, which are first new line not counting and last new line here not counting. Quite nice. It's just design decisions here, really. I think it makes sense. Okay, let me think about it. intuitively. Okay. So when you're designing something for users, it's a very common, not common. Sorry, I wish it was. It's a very useful thing to do, to just go and think intuitively as the user. Like, what would the user expect? If I was the user and I wrote, let's say I'm writing code, right? The way you write code here is like with code and then the language. Guys, I may not know where it is. Did I even write it down? I don't think I wrote it down. No, I know I did. Yeah, I know I did. And somewhere. Control F code. Ah, I erased it. Fuck. I deleted it. I had a special code. Okay, but the idea is that you do this, basically. I think it was code, and then lang equals Odin, for instance. Then you go here, and you say, like, because you're going to tell the person, like, here's how you can create and initialize a string builder in Odin. And then you say SB strings up builder init SB. Like, okay, you do this. When you look at this, wouldn't you expect... Sorry, I just fucking I punched my microphone. Wouldn't you expect, like, the actual code that's rendered to the final page to start here? Because I would, right? Like, okay, of course it starts, like, after the indentation. Like, when I read this, I don't expect, like, oh, it's gonna have an extra level of indentation coming before it. You see what I mean? So maybe I should do this. Now, I'm not gonna do, I can see why they did it. I'm not gonna do what Cuddle did and force you to have the closing bracket be like also indented, because that's, I'll be honest, it just looks bad. And sometimes that doesn't matter, but sometimes it does. And like, I feel like if I used this and I had to indent it with the thing, I would feel annoyed, right? I'd be like, no, that's quite bad. Me no likey. So what can I do? Because in Cuddle, what you do is you use that to inform the program, well, the parsers, well, it is a program. You inform the parser, like, okay, where do I want the indentation to start, right? That's nice. Now, I am not Cuddle, and that means I have a few disadvantages because I cannot do some things that Cuddle can, but I have advantages too. For instance, I could make it an argument. I could say indent start 1, indent style spaces, right? Which is a bit more verbose. And verbosity sometimes just makes the thing easier to understand, but sometimes just makes it harder as well, right? Because something that's longer just takes you more to grasp into context. I'm not gonna go into that too much, okay? Because then I'm gonna be talking about it for 30 minutes, and that's not really like the focus of what I'm doing. I don't fear the fact that, like, okay, the syntax, like something like Markdown could never fathom to do this, because they are so very scared of non-programmers not understanding what they're doing. But it's like 98% of people who use Markdown are programmers, like, if I'm being honest, right? Of course I pulled this number out of my my bum, right? Like this is not a real number or statistic, but it's just something I just know to be the case that a vast majority of whoever uses Markdown is programmers or people who at least are somewhat familiar with writing code. And so this is not going to be a surprise to them, especially because I am writing PSBB specifically so it's for programmers, so I don't have that restriction. But it's weirder, no? I feel like it's weirder if I do it this way, right? Where you have to specify those things here. It makes it more flexible because then it depends solely on this thing working. I hate Markdown with a passion. What do you dislike about it so much? I dislike parts of it. I can see its appeal, which doesn't mean I don't dislike it. I dislike how it allows cases where you are unable to do things. Let me give you guys one example. You cannot do this. If you want to have like a code block with the grave key, you cannot do that because this starts a code block, right? I dislike this kind of thing. There aren't many such cases, but the ones there are irritate me vastly. Okay, so this is one way to do this, okay? Now let's iterate over this. Okay, now let me put let me get my programmer hat off and put on my designer hat. So here are my options. I could do this. Cons. Ugly AF. Triple exclamation mark. Okay? Now, it does not require this, which is good. Cons for Bose AF. Double exclamation mark. And also, like, okay, I can say that the indentation style is spaces. Maybe I can mitigate that. No, I cannot. Because saying like one spaces is different. Like one tab would be 4 spaces. Okay. I thought of something, guys. What if I just do... So here I'm doing ending marker determines size of omitted white space. Is that how you write omitted? Sorry if it isn't. Imagine needing 2 spaces at the end of a line to insert a new line. Markdown is trash. Do you need to do that in Markdown? Do you have to like go blah 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 space blah blah blah? Because I never do this. I just go this. Where was I? Okay, so this here is explicitly provided white space omission arguments. And finally, I have an idea, which is first line determines size of omitted white space. So it goes like code, language is Odin, contents is like this, strings, and then it's gonna be like, oh, okay, what is the first line? And the first line has like 4 spaces before its first non-white space character. Okay, so let me just say first non-empty line. Yeah. Because like that makes like this works well, yeah? and then it just looks for lines that have this at the start, and if they do, it just omits it. It goes like, okay, this thing has exactly the same thing, so let's just not have it. This does make the following thing occur though. So if you just have a single line, no matter what you do, no matter how much indentation you put in, it's not going to be indented. So I can already see how that's going to be horrendous, because I have a use case in mind where this is a problem, and a big one. Well, kind of. Which is basically like, at some point, I know, because I have already written it, I have an article which criticizes practices which basically kind of encourage you to write code in a more nested fashion, and there I have like a sample where I say, hey, look at this. This is real code in a real project. Look at how many indentation levels it has. And it's like 3 lines of code which are very like to the right, like this one, right? I think for this type of thing that the input should intuitively map to the output. If I insert a new line, it should appear in the output. I shouldn't need to add 2 invisible characters to force it. It makes sense, and I see where you're coming from, especially because Markdown attempts to be a what you see is what you get style of syntax, yes? Where it's like very clear how the output's going to look like from the input. But then when it comes to paragraphs, they use the like HTML kind of thing, right? And maybe, I don't know, I don't think you're gonna, maybe you want to use PSBB, which is what I'm writing right now, but maybe you won't. In PSBB, something similar happens. So the rule is, if you have contiguous lines of text, they become a single paragraph. Now, I do have one advantage, Mr. Nobody Special, which is the fact that I have template generators. So I can just let you do something like this. Look, you can just do first line, second line. And I don't think I'm going to call this N. It's going to be like new line or something. Or NL. And I don't think, I don't know if I'm going to want to have like abbreviations, right? Like shorter versions, like the thing we do with flags in CLIs, right? Like, oh, you can do minus help or -h. I don't know. I do not know. Like, that's the idea. You would be able to do this. Possibly. Or maybe BR. I'll think about it. Oh, but also this is going to be customizable. So if you want, you can just add your own thing. By the way. Anyway, let's not lose our focus here. Yeah. I think I can have this mechanism that I just said, and then what I can do is I can have an option which allows you to either mitigate it or not. So you can just have like omit. Okay, trim. Fuck, I don't know what to call it. What do I call it, guys? Like the act of removing this white space at the start. What do I call it? Because I'm saying omit white space, right? Because I am not showing the white space you typed. Like that's my line of thinking. But maybe that's not a good way to put it. Is there a better way? That's slightly better. I'm sorry for not being able to meet your standards, Mr. Nobody Special. The idea is that you're supposed to write paragraphs contiguously. If you want line breaks, you can use a line block. Or you can write it as separate paragraphs, which means separate bodies of contiguous text, which means first line, second line. Trimming, yeah, I think of trimming. But I think trim is a bad name, and I'll tell you why. If I have code like this, and I have this, and I say trim white space true, I expect the output to look like this. Does that make sense? It just trimmed the white space. All of it. But what I'm doing is I'm trimming a very specific section of the white space. So maybe that's not as good. I'm thinking like maybe trim indentation. Actually I could use trim indent. Well, okay. Back to what I said before. I'm not gonna spend time doing this. It's gonna be trim indent and suck my dick. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, by default, okay, I cannot do what I was gonna do. I broke the line on the input, so it should appear in the output. I am immovable on that. Okay, so are you on the option that if you want to break a long line into multiple lines, you need to do like \enter? Like this? Okay, so the thing that I was gonna do should be like per thing. Star line. What? Oh, okay, it's because you wrote like. I see what you mean. It was a correction. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is like, okay, so this is per template generator. So the user, the person that's actually going to write things with this, can write it their own template generator. So this should be per template generator. Or I could make it standard. But I think I'm going to just let you do whatever you want to do with your stuff. Because like maybe you want to have something specific that specifically doesn't jump lines and doesn't need you to specify that you don't want to jump lines. But I'm going to have things which you do. And then they are going to remove all white space which matches the white space that comes before the first non-white space of the first non-white space line. And that's going to be done by default. And if you don't want that to be done by default, you need to come here and say false. Because if you just don't have anything, it's going to be true. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to write about that. I'm going to say a number of template... holy shit. A number of generators... trim... No backslash. A new line in the input should be a new line in the output. That's just my position. That's very bad for writing paragraphs, man. I'm just letting you know. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. I mean, you could use text wrapping. That's also very bad. It's terrible. A number of generators, trim, indentation. Of the lines based on the indentation present in the first non-white space, non-empty, non-white space only line uh, trimming indentation that matches it from other lines. That's terribly written. A number of generators trim indentation off the lines. With indentation that matches the indentation present in the first non-white space only line. How is it that bad? It's intuitive. That's not what I mean. I don't mean that writing it or whatever is bad. What is bad is writing things for the web with it, right? Because, where was I? Because, here's what. You come here and you write something like, my power just came back on. Cool. I was gonna ask you if your power came back on. But good thing it came back. Is it less windy? So, here's what. You write something like, lorem ipsum, and you just keep on writing lorem ipsum. Now, this would be, like, if you just did it by line, this would be a paragraph. Right? That would be your unit of paragraph. And editing this is quite painful. It's painful on splits, and you can enable text wrapping, which usually has very bad support and is fucking horrible to use. But you could. And then, like, each line would be its own paragraph. So if you just write this, the bad part of the storm is passing. That's good. If you wrote something like this, now this looks like a paragraph, right? But this is 6 paragraphs. You see what I mean? This is 6 paragraphs. Whereas, if you do contiguous block, you can take this thing and do this. And this is 1 paragraph. And these are 6 paragraphs. Right? And a paragraph is different from a line because I may have this paragraph and it looks like this, like when I'm writing it, right? And imagine that, you know, maybe someone has a large screen and my region of text, which reacts to the size of their monitor, is going to be larger. And then it looks like this on their screen. And then there's someone else which has a small monitor. And it looks like this on their screen. But I wrote it like this. You see? So paragraphs do this. Because otherwise you cannot do anything which reacts to the size of their screen. At all. You have to do like word, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna break here, and now word, and word, and that's it. And then this is going to render kind of like this. You missed what I said? Okay, so look. The thing is that those things, you're thinking of them as lines. But you know when like two things are almost the same but they're not really the same, but we think they're the same because they're very like they overlap a lot. That's it, right? Because there's lines and there's paragraphs, right? In HTML. And so paragraphs become multiple lines, but a paragraph and a line are not the same thing. Because a paragraph reacts, it's a block of text which reacts to the size it's given. Right? So what I was saying is like you can write this as one paragraph and it becomes this on the screen of a person which has a large monitor, which is going to have a larger text box area, and it's going to become like this on a person on the monitor of a person who has a smaller monitor, right? And if you make every single line be one paragraph, I don't see how any of that is relevant. I mean, Markdown is supposed to output to HTML. Like, that's the point. Right? So, using HTML properly is kind of the point. No? I mean, PSBB is also like that. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Anyway, let me just write the thing that I was writing. Sorgi. A number of generators trimmed indentation off the lines with indentation. Holy shit, my brain. What? If I insert a... Okay. I'm just saying that's bad for writing web pages. That's all. And it's okay, you can keep wanting it. A number of generators trim indentation off the lines with indentation that matches the indentation. Holy fuck. Okay. Look, if you have a generator block, you make no sense. Okay, I can try to explain to you later, whatever. If you have a generator block with indented content, most generators are going to trim indentation if you have a generator content block with indented content. They do so by observing the indentation present on the first what is wrong with the word? Oh, it's indentation. Present on the first non-empty line. If a line, by observing and trimming indentation from lines with matching beginning indentation. Power just went out again. That's crazy. Bro, this is not your lucky day. Are you still going to work later today? With the power outages? I mean, I don't know what you work with. Could as well be a hitman. That would honestly be fire. I hated that. I'm never speaking like that again. I just felt like so old trying to conform to the abnormal speech of the youth. Yes, I'll be working. The mystery goes on. I like to imagine you're like some government assassin. It sounds, you know, I have to take out the trash. I see. That would honestly be cool. when that's undesired, you can you can pass the trim indent equals false argument property to the generator, and all white space will be capped. But before that, I will say if a generator content starts by, okay, if the generator content has a new line which immediately follows the opening curly brace of the generator content, it will be omitted. Dude, how... I got pissed. Sorry. It will be omitted from the content if the ending curly brace precedes... No! If the ending curly brace appears immediately after a new line character, that new line character is omitted from the content. What is wrong? It's correct. Okay. Okay, hopefully that's understandable to some level. Hopefully. Right? Okay. So like this thing, the content would be like this. And only that. Okay, not like a new line here and not a new line here and not the white space here. Unless you came here and you said like indent, trim, indent, false. And now it keeps it with the indentation. Now the content is this, right? Or if you for some reason say true. Okay, that sounds good. That's my solution. That's my solution. Problem solved. For now. Unless I figure out that there's some magical bad thing that happens. One thing I didn't think about. Does fossil allow me to merge parts of files? Because I didn't think it would. Fossil commit parts of file. Okay, there's this forum post. Let me save your eyes from damnation. Coming from Git, I got used to commit changes to a file in chunks. Yeah? As far as I know, Fossil's commit unit is a file, so I'm wondering how people deal with scenarios like the above. So far, I've come up with the following workflow. Create a copy of the file, stash changes, open both of them, and pick some changes from one to the other. Commit it. Iterate step 3 as long as there are changes to be committed. Unstash. The step may introduce conflicts. Okay. The patch utility. So is the patch utility something like fossil patch? Yes. Fossil help patch batless. Fossil is trash confirmed. This command is used to create, view, and apply fossil binary patches. A fossil binary patch is a single binary file that captures all of the uncommitted changes of a checkout. Use fossil binary patches to transfer proposed or incomplete changes between machines for testing or analysis. Okay. I gotta look into this later. Not now, though. Not on the stream, man. Okay. So, I'm going to start parsing the template itself now. That I got the source, which should be done here. Okay. Dude, where's the thing? No, sorry, that's not parse template. My bad, guys. It's parse page, actually. Where's the page parsing? Parse page. Oh, I see. That's the name for the function which parses the page. Okay, I can finally uncomment this and this. So the thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to have a string builder. Hooray! That's what I'm gonna do. And this loop is going to write content to the string builder. Let me see what time it is. It is currently 11 p.m. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna have a few more moments off stream. The stream is going to last a little while, and then I'm going to go away because I have more work to do tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I have a job besides being an incompetent programmer on stream. So, first of all, for every line we're going to parse, first thing is just ignore white space, okay? And I have already written a function for this. I think it's called skip white space. Guys, it's not called skip white space. Or I have not created it. Or it's called skip space. Okay. See, and I was criticizing trim space, yeah? Oh, I see, because space can also be used as a collective term for space. Just become a full-time streamer, easy. Man, that would be fun, but it would also be a bit bad. Like, cause then you have to just exist by doing what people want. Like, not that I don't currently, right? But it's like clown service to some extent. Like, people are not going to give me enough money for me to keep going by watching me stream, especially if I do like absolutely focused work like I do sometimes. Like, not say anything, just keep working on the thing. That's not very entertaining, right? So people don't like to watch this. And even the best streams, which are programming related, don't get that many views compared to any other stream, like any other category of streams. So that doesn't seem like a good choice. I would much rather become a full-time game programmer, right? Like, have one of my games blow up and then just live off doing cool games and open a company and get cool people to work with me. Yeah, anyway. So I'm going to skip space, and you can see this is kind of modeled. Just gotta go full prime and read other people's articles all day. Dude, I used to do a lot of reading streams, but reading streams is really boring for people. Um, Fortunately, I never, like, I've always been the kind of person to do the streams for myself, right? Like, I just stream stuff. I just go and do streams. I don't like, oh, I'm trying to get 5 billion viewers on my streams or be super famous, right? And I know everyone says this, but it's easy to say things. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say I is 0. But yeah, I used to do a lot of streams reading stuff. Recently, I did some of that with the WebAssembly stuff. Right, I was reading the manuals, except for the specification parts, which do not matter for the users. But even then, I didn't do like a very thorough reading session because I was running out of time. I had something to do later in the day. Yeah, I gotta check if I is less than length of source. And then I gotta skip space, and this takes a string itself, which is source, and a pointer to I, and it's going to modify this pointer to skip ahead to the first character, which is not white space, and this is going to respect Unicode, right? So this is, you can do Unicode stuff here, and it works. UTF-8 at least. Okay, so after I skip spaces, maybe it will be the end of the line. Oh yes, I forgot. I did this before as well. So I have like a main loop, which loops like over the entire content, and then inside of it, I do loops for the lines. Does that make sense? So let me find this for you. So look. I have the line loop kind of thing. And then, okay, I just do some verification at the start. And then inside of here is like the line itself. And then here is parsing for the line content. Right? That's basically something I do. And also I'm going to say line loop here. I'm going to do that because that's often useful for me to break out of stuff, especially when I'm using switch statements like I'm using here. And so I'm gonna do this, and so for every line, first thing I'm gonna do I'm gonna skip the white space, and then just like I did here, if the next character that I find is a new line, I skip the new line, and then I continue to the next line, because like the line is over. Does that make sense? And the reason why I have to use a function to skip a new line is because a new line can be one character or two characters, because Windows is marvelous and they have new line being carriage return line feed, and also that's considered a new line group in the Unicode specification. So it is what it is. All right, so now I'm just going to get next char. And sorry, I'm just going to get char and char size. I do that very commonly. So those things here, by the way, they mean character and character size. This is a rune, and this is its size in bytes in UTF-8 representation. I'm not going to explain what those things mean. Maybe in the future when I'm doing some stuff that's a bit more focused on UTF-8, okay? Like, I don't know if I'm going to stream editor stuff, right, for Square. It may be worth doing because I'm rewriting parts of it and maybe people would find that interesting. I do not know. And I unfortunately don't have a way of letting people tell me if they want it or not. Maybe go into the YouTube videos of these archives and tell me, like, oh, please, editor stuff or whatever. Anyway, so I'm just gonna get char size. By the way, this is if the line has ended. Start the next one. Is this stupid? I don't know. I'm just going to write it here. Maybe this comment is redundant. I usually use R size. That makes sense because it's a rune. I really hate single character names. I use them in very specific contexts, and I have used them in this project, I think. Like I did like C here. I did them here, for instance, because I already had char. So okay, this is going to be char at source I. And so if the character, sorry, if is new line character, then skip new line character and continue to the next iteration of the line. Okay, now, okay, so this makes me skip empty lines which just have white space. Second case I want to skip is comments. I do not have multi-line comments. Womp womp. But they begin with hashtag. And the way you do this is, okay, you do this if it's a new line, and then if char is equal to a hashtag, which actually is something I'm going to check for first, then we just, like, when we find a hashtag, we skip to the end of the line, and then we skip the new line. Yeah, that's what we do. Oh, it's right here at the right. So skip to next line. So this is going to find the next new line and then skip over it. Or if it reaches the end of the file, it stops before. So skip to next line, source, pointer to I, and continue, because we will have started a new line or ended a file. And we give it a chance to like verify that this length is already surpassed and stop the loop or continue the next line. Okay, boom. So comments are implemented, and so is having empty lines. Okay, so now the only work we have to do is on the lines which are not empty. So generally what we do now, so that's a very common structure. I always parse things like this. I should search about it. I think there's like a specific classification of parsing that matches what I'm doing here. But I don't really care about like what the technical name for it is. But I should maybe try parsing things in other ways just to learn about it and stuff. There's a set of single character names I use that always mean the same thing. They are also intuitive. Otherwise, I write the longest variable name you've ever seen. There's no middle ground with me. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That seems sensible. Yeah, my number one rule is that the default thing you should do is not abbreviate, but you should agree with your team about what you abbreviate. And so the rule is, if you abbreviate something, you gotta always abbreviate it in the same way or have a very good reason not to. Like you can see, you can see there's nowhere in this code where I say character. This thing doesn't occur. It's always char. And here it is C because it couldn't be char. Right? So that's how I do stuff. Right? Like I say never abbreviate, but here I say min. But you will also never see me say minimal anywhere. See? So consistency is just king here. Anyway, so this method of parsing that I do is just skip the stuff that's like not important first, or that has as its characteristic that it has to be skipped. So in this case, it's empty space and comments. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is parse for special stuff, and then there's the normal stuff that's left over, right? So for me, I'm going to parse for template generators. I am maybe going to parse there for special syntax, like this thing, which indicates it's some form of title. Like maybe a literal block, right? Which could be found there. That kind of stuff. And And then once you've parsed for those things, which is done in aggregate, power came back on for 1 second. Oh, it happened again. What is going on? Bro is getting trolled. But I know exactly what you mean, man. I've been on this kind of situation many times when the weather gets absolutely crazy, and then stuff starts blinking and it comes back and then it goes away for a long period of time, and then it goes, it's like it's trolling you. It's like it's teasing you, like, hey, I'm gonna come back. Not this time. Maybe tomorrow. Anyway. And then after I've parsed for that stuff, which is done in aggregate, by the way. So what do I mean by it is done in aggregate? So when I see an open bracket, when I see that, it means I'm starting a template generator. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to parse the entire template generator. And control is only going to get returned to this point of the code once the entire thing has been looked through. That's how I do things. And so after I do that, the only thing that's left to parse possibly is a paragraph. Okay? Now it's on. Don't even want to go back to my PC. I don't trust it. I wouldn't either. It depends on the wind. Okay? How is the wind? That's how you can judge if it's okay to return. But first, I need to do something very important, which is the fact that I can have backslashes again. So you can see here the way I did backslash on settings is at the start here. Sorry, guys. Is at the start here. No, sorry, this is not it. Okay, so I skip white space. I check if it's a hashtag. I check if it's a new line and stuff. And then I parse the line. And here I go. If it is a backslash, then I skip the next character. If there is some. So I'm going to do that. Okay? But in this case, I'm not doing that in the line itself, so that would come in here for I less than length source. Okay, I get the character, and then I can. Sorry, I cannot resist the seductive powers of switch statement. Okay, so if it's a backslash, escape stuff. If it's a colon, possibly title. If it is oh, I didn't consider that. That is stupid of me. Hashtag is used for comments, so it cannot be used for like raw stuff, like escape blocks is what I call them, right? I would have to use something else. Which other character shall I use? ASCII table. Is there any good ASCII table that just works and is like good looking? I can look at it and it's like not 3 pixels per character. I mean, okay, this one's kind of good. Okay, what am I gonna use, guys? What am I gonna use? Odin has made me love switch statements to a level I never thought possible. Same. Honestly, same. Because they can also be like if statements, right? Well, they also have some great semantics. And they're also not confusing. And you can break to labeled stuff. Anyway, it's good. Man, it needs to be some repeatable character. I'm borrowing this idea from Lua, by the way. And Cuddle also steals from Lua about how you can do like something which is escaped. Oh well, I mean, what I could do is I could obligate you to have an opening square brace for the stuff. Escape blocks start with a curly brace, which is this thing, followed by any amount of hashtag characters, followed by another opening curly brace, and end at a closing curly brace, followed by the same amount of hashtag characters that start the sequence, and finally by another closing curly brace. So now it's an unambiguous. Nice. Very nice. Okay, now if the case is this, possibly escape block. I was gonna consider stuff like normal stuff, and then I was gonna consider syntax sugar, like the shortcuts, but I'm just going to do both at once. All right. So what else should I consider? I don't think there's anything else I should care about. Am I forgetting something? I don't think so. Okay, and pretty much like this. Otherwise, it's like normal characters. And then I have to parse, though, for paragraphs. I do have to parse for paragraphs. Oh, but I need to parse things kind of recursively, so I gotta be able to parse template stuff. I could have a function dedicated to parsing template stuff and call the function whenever I see a template, so it recursively parses the content inside of it. Which means, and that may be important. No, it doesn't mean anything, actually. It doesn't mean anything. It, in fact, means nothing. All right. So here's my thing. Here, let me show you guys what I mean. Okay. So you can go here and you can do something like I'll use this guy. I'll not use this guy. I'll use my editor. Tab new. You can go here and you can say, for instance, hey, I want to use some code. Okay. I want to do. Oh, let me see. Do I have a setting one? I don't really know. I want to do like a code block, right? So like my page, I have like title, my very cool page, and I use my template article. Okay, and then there's a bunch of lines here, and then I start writing my actual article, and I say like, hey, okay, I want to insert my title here, so maybe I do setting title. Maybe that makes more sense. Um, and then, like, because this is called my very cool page, it's the same as if I had written my very cool page, which is the same as if I had written my very cool page, which is the same as if I had written my very cool page h1. That's basically it. So you can do this with this setting and it's going to become this. That's the idea. Okay, and like, okay, at surface level that's very easy to parse, but there's a very specific characteristic of this which I want to be feasible and I want to be true and I want to work. I want to have work, which is I want to be able to come here and recursively have stuff. You know what I mean? Do you guys happen to know what I mean? So maybe you want to have a code block here, okay? So you come here and you say, like, block. Did I say prefix or suffix? I don't recall. Yeah, prefix. Block code. And language is Odin. And then you come here and you want to have a string in your code, which is actually the title of the page. And you say page title. And in here, you want to have the my very cool page thing. But you want it to be the case, like if you come here and you change this to something else, it changes it down there. So you can go here, actually, and you can say this setting title. Do you see what I mean? I don't know anything you mean, Volatxs. Forgive me. Yes you do. What are you saying? Yes you do, you know what I mean. And so it should be recursive. And unless you do something like use raw. Why do I say raw? An escape block. You use a raw block. If you use a raw block. Okay, so a raw block would be like da 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 da. Like this. And then you would have to end it with dot 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 dot. Oh, that's looking so bad. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. That is bad, bad, bad. I do not like this. Okay, I'll need to change this. I will need to change that. Anyway, guys. Oh, I could have comment blocks. Maybe. So I'm going to recursively parse this thing, right? And I should, like, if I okay, this is going to sound stupid, but let's say I have another setting and I call that setting Odin block code page title OBCPT, and I say title. And so I can come here and I can say setting. You see where this goes, yeah? OBCPT. Because this is the same as this, which is the same as this. Right? But the parser, well, the parsing function I'm writing right now, it parses the file and it thinks about lines. So maybe what I want is something which only thinks about the template and just does stuff with the template. Maybe that. is what I am supposed to do. Perhaps it is. It is what I'm thinking, because then I can have a function like when I see an opening, sorry, a left angle bracket, I say, oh, I'm starting a generator. And it's like, okay, let's give the generator to the generator parser, right? It's like, first of all, it's going to be my job to find where it ends and say, okay, here is the generator. And then it is going to parse it. But then it is able to see if there is content. And also if there isn't content. Holy fuck, this is hard. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do... Okay, no, wait. It all clicked. Okay. So yeah, it's going to like receive this range of characters. And then it's going to go over the title. And then it's going to parse the arguments for template generators. And then the content for template generators. Because it could also... preferred lang Odin. Lang equals setting preferred lang. And I'm not going to do the thing where I go, oh, the thing means this, which means this. You guys get it. Because it allows all of this to work. And of course, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I could. It would be rather funny. But it sounds like a recipe for disaster to let people use templates in the name, no? Code type block code. And then you have to go here and say setting. Oh, it's already so bad. Setting. And then you say code type. Like, it becomes such a fucking mess. Right? Like, if you're doing something this insane at this point, man, just write your own template generator which does custom stuff, right? Like, you're trying to do some monstrous construct, right? This is like bash users when they try to do something normal. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have... Where is my code? I'm gonna have parse. Parse generator. Are you making this for yourself to use? Yes, but I'm also going to make it available for the public. But I'm mainly making it for myself to use. Which is the reason why I just avoided implementing many features I know I'm not going to use. Parse generator. Okay, this thing... String! Okay, should return a string. Yeah. It's like this thing is going to receive the text, maybe. And then it's going to work like this, right? By taking it and passing it to that. That's what I think. Now, I gotta deal with paragraphs here, too. So that may not be the best thing ever. But, wait. Paragraph is just another case. It's just a default one, right? Why do I call these things template generator if they are not in the template, they're in the page? What function does this program serve for you? Writing static blogs. Building static blogs. Forgive me. Like this one. Let me show you. I'm not going to be able to show you because I don't know what the path is. Okay, I'm going to try to remember it by okay, so it should be D user home code. In code, there should be Volatxs-Sphinx. If I have not deleted it, they should have build. They should have HTML. It should have index. Holy shit, I'm good. Okay, so this one is one of them. I'm not gonna open that one. I know there's an example one. So this is a theme I made when I was how does this look in dark mode? I really want to know. Yeah, this page is protected by browser. I mean, okay. What if I made it into a server by sorry guys, had to sneeze. Okay, what is it? 88. Holy shit, hold on. Okay, okay, so here's how it looks like. Kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, it builds this kind of stuff, right? But as you could you see that? Could you see what I just had to do? Could you see that I had to use overlay because Python needs special environments? And that I had to use Python to do that. Look at this abomination of a thing. Like, this is ungodly, man. I don't want to be doing this, okay? At all. And like, I don't want to have to extend the class and do the thing with the object to just have custom shit, right? It's also slow as fuck. So I'm doing that thing. And it may look a bit too complex, perhaps, at first glance, but, you know. I'm just curious what a static block builder gets you over just writing the HTML and CSS yourself in your eyes specifically. So, you know Vulkan? It's just like Vulkan. Once you get the boilerplate done, it becomes quite the tool. Because it's gonna mean it becomes very easy for me to write stuff and change stuff. And I can focus a lot more on the content than on HTML stuff. And by the way, I'm speaking from experience because I have a website that I wrote entirely by hand using HTML, JS, and CSS. Now I'm gonna have to remember the fucking thing again. I do think it's called Utopia. No. Yeah, so I have this thing and you can interact with it by just pressing buttons in the keyboard, and you can like see some stuff here, right? It's rules for an RPG system. It's not mine. It's not my RPG system. It's just an RPG system we're using, and it has like some stuff that's very specific. And then I wrote all of this by hand, right? There's no markdown converter. It's just stuff, right? I can go into it and show you. There it is. That's all there is. It's an index file, it's a JS file, and it's a CSS file, right? And this shit just gets so fucking annoying to write by hand at some point, right? I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, there you go. That's the website, okay? And I just want to be able to just do that in way easier ways, right? By the way, I am still going to be writing some pages in plain HTML because PSBB does this thing where in the input directory, if you have any file which is not a PSBB file, it just copies it to output, right? Like this output directory right here. So I could like have a page.html, and it would become page.html here. You see? That's kind of how it works. But yeah, it just makes it so I can just write the thing instead of having to care about HTML. Right? It's the same reason why people use Markdown or REST to write websites, right? Plus, this thing is going to be programmatic, so I can do programmatic stuff like syntax highlighting, right? What a lot of websites do is they use stuff like highlight.js, right? There's this thing here. I don't know if Discord uses it, but you just put it in your browser, and then did you see what happened right now? When your page opens, it like reads the stuff that's written, and it changes the HTML in place. In order to have it highlight. But like, if the code is a static thing, you can just highlight it once and have that be the HTML the page presents, and it doesn't have to load the HTML and the JS and run the JS to modify the HTML so you can see the highlighted thing. It should just highlight, right? That's another thing I want to do. I probably would have done something else to solve that. Fine. That makes sense. This just makes sense to me. I've written a lot of HTML code by hand, and I want to do this. So I'm not like at least what I at least expect you to trust is like I'm not just some dude that I'm like, oh, I've never even written a website and I've never even tried, and I'm just going to pretend like this is better. No, I know it is. You know what I mean? I have used plain HTML by hand, and I have done static block builders. And static block builders are better than HTML by hand, but they have a bunch of problems. And I'm trying to solve a number of them. Not dunking on you or saying you're wrong. That's fine, I see. I do wonder though, what would you do to solve that? What do you have in mind? Also, I didn't think much about navigation. I probably should. I have a few ideas, but they don't really work. So I'm gonna have to look for something that does. At this point, I'm just going to be chatting because the stream is going to end soon, and I don't have enough brain power to keep thinking about what I'm writing. I'm just probably going to write garbage. Okay, so I'm just going to close this. I need to kill the terminal. What? 46? Oh yeah, it was the other thing. Just be here. Oh. Holy fuck. LSD. Okay, I need a command like that. Um I see. It's fine. You don't need to explain like your genius evil genius plan right now. But if you could, maybe later explain it to me over Discord or something, you know? I'd be interested in what you think. Like how you would do this instead of that mumbo jumbo I'm doing, right? The central idea to what I'm doing is making things programmatic. Right? It's just like you can make um you can make it react to things. You can make it you can like change values and then it changes and stuff. And then you don't have to go and type it in by hand or rely on some unreadable abstracted GS stuff. My solution is different from yours since I'm probably solving a different problem. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, right? When you said I would have solved it differently, I was thinking, you know, he probably doesn't have a use for static block builder like I do, like not the same one. You know what I mean? You probably do. But yeah, I think I could simplify this a lot, and I think the syntax is a bit all over the place, but at the same time, it isn't. It's like I just have a special syntax by which you can call into Odin code from the HTML thing. Not the HTML, but the page syntax. So I can just create whatever functions I want that just take a string and return a string. My solution is also far more complicated in general. Yours is very specific, so in some sense, your solution is far more elegant. Yeah, I have a very restricted. I mean, it's still not very specific. Like, it could be way more specific, right? Like, I could restrict it to a certain domain of pages. Oh, this is the kind of page I want to build, and that would enable me to restrict the syntax even more. But I get what you mean. It's still a very specific kind of thing I want to do, because like in my website, I want to have like articles that I write with code and without it, and with mathematics. And some of the pages are just going to be some way more abstract thing with a way more complex script. Like I'll have a theming page so you can test themes for code and stuff like this. At least I plan on having that, which is very different from everything else. So it's still gotta work for a number of cases. And so far, my solution to that is just allow the person to write HTML by hand. But yeah, my solution I think is just very, very stupid. Um, Not in the sense that it's a bad solution, but in the sense that it does not try to be smart. You know what I mean? It's like, hey man, I have these rules by which you can call an Odin function with a string, and how this string is going to look like is dictated by these deterministic rules. And then you have to give me a string back, and I'll just put it in there. And it should be valid HTML. That's basically it. I just really want to get this out of the way, right? The PSBB thing, the Programmer Static Block Builder, because, well, okay, honestly, it's not stopping me from writing stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I have been willing. No, sorry, I have been wishing. What is the word? I don't know. I have wanted to publish, or well, make available online a number of ideas and articles, most of which I already have written in Obsidian, and one of them in a TXT file. And I just want to get them out in a very readable way. I even thought of publishing it on websites like Medium, and I had some other ideas. I had like 7 websites I was looking into, but all of them were like too complex or too cluttered. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just didn't like him, I think. I might someday experiment with my idea, but I have a pretty big project I'm already working on. So maybe someday. Yeah, I feel you, man. Don't we all wish we could we could just multiply ourselves and just do a bunch of shit at once? That would be lovely. I'd love to read your articles. I imagine they are enlightening. I hope they highlight things most people tend not to pay attention to. I don't know if they're going to be enlightening in any sense. But yeah, some of them are about life in general and how to live. Some of them are about code. A lot of them are about like mathematics and code. Mostly code and programming. When I say code, I mean programming specifically. I don't mean writing HTML. And some of them, I'm sure, will be a bit misinterpreted despite any number of warnings I provide. Because some of these articles are just going to be a summary of rules I follow, and they are there for me, which may sound confusing to people, because when you post, well, it's not really posting because it's on my own website, but like when you publish something and make it available online, people assume you're like saying, hey people, read this, see what you think, when that's not really the case a number of the times, right? And in this case is one of them, where I'm not giving you this because I want you to do what I'm doing, or because I want these rules to be followed by everybody. Despite, I think, there's some value to them. And some people just misunderstand it, right? If you want an example of a previous occurrence of this phenomenon, look no further than Miyamoto Musashi's Dokudo, or his Path of the Loner book. Oh, as far as I know, it's not really like a book, but it's actually a bunch of separate things that kind of merged into one name. Anyway, because he has rules about how he is supposed to live his life, and it's aimed at a very specific niche category of people in a very specific moment of the history of humanity, in a very specific culture of humanity, right? Which is what would be like equivalent of medieval um, Japan, I think, right? And he would be a sword fighter, and the way of the sword would be his profession and his way of living, and he grants people a bunch of rules in order to live in this environment. And it gets me chuckling when I see, and I've seen that before, someone go and criticize him and say like, bro, this guy wants someone who works a 9 to 5. No, he doesn't want. No, that's not what he wants at all. Okay? He has no idea what McDonald's is, man. He wrote that thing for like samurais back in medieval Japan, man. Alright? To be a very good samurai and fit with the ascetic way of life that was endorsed by things like Buddhism, which he clearly believed in. Right? But even though that should be extremely clear, and it is to me at least, it isn't to everybody. And I think something similar will happen, because I will have even less disclaimers than he had. And I'm sure some people will be like, oh, you're telling me that someone like that does this or that and has 5 children. No, chill, all right? Reading your life ones would probably be very fun for me, since we likely have opposed life philosophies. Should be a good read. Possibly we do. Perhaps you would notice, I don't know how much you will, I do not think we are so opposed as you believe, because you will quickly figure out a core tenet of the way I live is endless inspection of life. And more on that on the actual article, but this is also what dictates my faith, which to some people may sound contradictory, because some people still believe there's such a thing as 2 opposing sides, one of which is science, the other of which is religion. That is, I think, consequence of some level of brainwashing, which may sound like a conspiracy theory, but is very clear and evident. In part, due to being factually wrong. Anyway, I think it's going to be interesting. Now I am excited to see how you react. Now I'm really excited to see what you think about them. Oh yes, and a bunch of them are going to be like deep dives on specific topics, the main purpose of which is going to be for me to learn things, right? Like, hey, I want to learn more about this thing. So I gotta write a very complete article which deep dives into the details of this thing, right? Because when you're just doing something for yourself, you have an easier way of allowing yourself to leave holes in your understanding. You can simply not understand something and be okay with that. But if you're writing something for other people to consume, right? Then you're scared of criticism and stuff, like the natural social pressure of delivering something of good quality comes into play. And also, it's not just about like being judged for writing something wrong or not, but also the desire to deliver something of quality to others, you know? So I think that's going to be good motivation. Anything else? I don't think there's any topic I've thought about besides those things. So it's going to be things about programming and like, yeah, one of the purposes of the website is going to be like, I want a repository of knowledge and wisdom I've accumulated over the years, and I'm sure I'll learn a lot more as I live life, and it will all be there. And maybe when I get to be 50 years old, if I do, hopefully I do, then someone who's like 20 years old, like I am right now, I'm 22, is gonna come by and is gonna find that. And the things I say there will really resonate with that person. And he will have some answers that I spent decades looking for. But he'll have them much quicker. And will be able to start living at a much more advantageous point in life. I don't know. That's just... I can't promise that will happen, and that's not like one of the main objectives or concerns. Well, okay, it is kind of, right? But that's not something I'm trying to maximize for, if that makes sense. Honestly, reading the ones on programming might be boring for me, since that is something we probably agree on a lot on already. I agree, yes. But here's what. There's a point about that. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you say. I think it's going to be boring for you. But the thing is, when you find someone that really doesn't understand something which me and you already do, and you're like, man, I can't sit here and write 7 paragraphs trying to explain to that person what this means and why it's bad. Oh, but hey, there's this article by Volatxs on his website, which clearly explains why this is a problem and why this is a better way to do it. And I agree with it, and you can just go and Ctrl V. That's part of why I'm going to be writing a bunch of stuff. Right? So I can just go and, hey, read this, okay? Instead of having me explain right now. In part because writing is a much more refined form of communication. It has been losing itself lately for some reason, which is weird. There is no method of communication which is superior to writing as of now. Games are a good second. But games have the opportunity of surpassing writing due to the capacities of the medium, but due to cultural context perhaps, or lack of technological advancement and understanding, or perhaps ease of access to quality information, I don't know, games are not, at least in the vast majority, not yet as informational as books can be. Yet they can convey a higher category of feeling. I'm not going to go into that, or I'm going to be here for hours. I have contemplated hosting a website to share my journey through philosophy. It could be interesting to have that record of growth and change on the internet in full display. Possibly, yeah. So one thing that may happen is I may co-author articles with people, and I may just choose people and have them write something, and I will publish on my website under their name. So maybe you want to do something like that at some point to share what you think. As of now, all the things but of course, let me just say, of course, I think having your own website is truly going to be a way better place to put your thoughts, because then you can adjust everything you want and present it exactly as you wish. I have contemplated hosting a website to share my journey through. Okay, I just read that. Sorry, I'm stupid. I'm getting sleepy. As of now, all the things I've contemplated exist only in my mind and largely do not get to be tempered by exposure to contrary thought. Yeah, I see what you say. I see what you say. And anyone that lives by inspecting life is scared of not being exposed to contrary arguments, because until you do, the only thing you're sure about is that your arguments are possibly fragile, if that makes any sense. You only know that they cannot be fragile when they are put against other ideas that contradict them. Then you will know. Also, I'll just enter into one more topic, perhaps before I go. This is mostly so it stays here in the recording. I believe people nowadays have a vision of something like writing and other expressions of intelligence as being a mere result of intelligence, such that you would have to first acquire this intelligence and wisdom and then express it through writing or music or other forms of art. But it is the case, as I observe, that expressions of intelligence are themselves a very powerful form of contemplation and study, and a very, very good way of elevating one's intelligence and wisdom. Right? Which is an idea I don't see many people talking about or thinking about on a daily basis. So it's not like smart people should write because they have something good to write. But it's, if you don't feel like you're smart, you should write so you become. Right? There's also that. There's a reason why I dislike general form of debate we tend to have nowadays, in part because social media and stuff turned a number of things into sensationalist. How do you say that thing? Sensationalist. Hold on, give me a second.
Sensationalist.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Sorry for that intermission. But social media turned a bunch of stuff into just sensationalist presentations of content, trying to get clicks or whatever, right? So you have those debates where people scream with each other, and it's like one dude is trying to say the line that where the crowd goes, "Oh shit, he cooked him with that," and like that is very, very stupid. I'm not interested in debates, but I sure do love trolling debates. I am very interested in debates, but there's very little debates in reality, right? It's mostly people screaming at each other. So here's what also happens. I have a memory problem, right? Like, keeping context of things for me is very difficult. So I implement a number of tools to try and help me with that, or to go around that problem, right? And so when I get into a debate, quote unquote, like something that has happened before, is like someone would pull me in the, like I would be like at school and they would pull me aside and be like, let's discuss this thing. And like, I am unprepared, it's something I haven't thought about for a while, and I have very little context on currently, and I am very slow to pick up the like things I remember and know about it, right? It's like it's a process that requires me to talk for a while to find the things that I'm thinking about, right? Like my linker in my brain is very slow, and I have very little RAM. So when I talk to these people, what I see is they will just use that as an advantage for themselves to win the debate by having me not be able to react quickly enough. And they know they're doing it, but it's clearly an insincere way of debating because you're not trying to learn anything or find out what the truth is, right? I am interested in discussions with parties who won't immediately write you off as a bad actor, says Nobody Special. Yes, of course, parties which are unwilling to discuss are not really worth debating. I also like dialogue in the form of written responses where each party has a chance to reflect, study, and either accept or counter their opponent's position. Otherwise, it's just a game of who's more quick-witted. Exactly, that's the point I was coming to. It is... I prefer... It's like email debate, you know what I mean? Like, one guy gets to say all he wants, and then the other guy reads all the guy said and answers with all he wants, and he has a because here's the biggest thing about this, okay? It eliminates excuses. Does that make sense? It eliminates excuses. For instance, the party which is receiving the communication, like the first arguments, cannot have as an excuse that he had not seen the thing which makes the entire block of ideas make sense, because he has to have read the ideas in complete form. The person who wrote the thing has to write all of it at once and then send it. So he cannot use the excuse that the other party simply didn't know what they meant because their argument is incomplete. So there isn't this excuse on behalf of the one who first writes, or on behalf of the person who first reads. And the person who reads and answers does not have an excuse for not having answered a specific point. You see? Like, this eliminates a bunch of excuses and puts people in a playing field where they are in absolute control of what they say, because they can say as much as they want, and they decide where their argument ends. It also becomes a lot easier to distinguish people who are trying to actually say many things which matter are those people who just write a lot of stuff trying to like suffocate the other with content such that it's too much for them to parse and they just give up, because some people do that, right? And that becomes very easy to find out when you see a gigantic fucking letter. You agree with it? Yeah, I think we agree on that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even try to debate over Discord or whatever anymore. You remember? I still remember that. You remember that day when I was debating with, well, not debating really, but I was talking to Chris, and I even said something like this, like, dude, like, this here is not going to work, right? Because like, the things I was trying to say did not fit a single Discord comment character limit, right? But then I say something, and then Chris responds to it But he doesn't have my complete argument because I need to send another message so he can see it. But he has the excuse to say that because Discord is a medium that won't allow me to just write the entire thing. You know what I mean? There's a term for that tactic where you swarm an opponent with too many arguments. Oh yes, yeah. In this case, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about something different, and maybe you know that, but I'll just to be clear, I'm not talking about giving too many arguments at once, such that the person loses context and cannot respond. I'm actually talking about too much content, right? You know, when you write things specifically, so like the block of text is bigger. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's why I just troll Chris, lol. And I think Chris's ideas are not bad or whatever. Okay, but it's hard to have like a genuine discussion over the internet like that. Because, and I don't think it's his fault either. Because he cannot know. Like, he has no indicator to tell him, hey, this person's argument ends here. You know what I mean? Like, he sees a message, there it is. It is a message he can respond to. Right? The medium encourages immediate responding. So I cannot even blame him for doing it, you know? Yeah. Anyway, email debates are cool. Well, sort of. I liked that thing that Casey Muratori did with Uncle Bob. You remember that? About the OOP things? When he made that video that kind of became viral about clean code, horrible performance, I think performance was the name. Where they like traded kind of letters, right? Because that just puts them in a position where they're kind of forced to be more genuine in a sense. Dude, this stream just became like philosophy 101 or whatever. Well, not really. We're not talking about a lot of stuff. I also love Bill's video about their debate. A classic I return to from time to time. Yeah. So long form debate like that gives genuine spectators, that's the term I will use, spectators which are interested in the truth, a chance to easily identify bad actors which attempt to disguise themselves as good actors, either intentionally or unintentionally. I hope that sentence wasn't too complex. I hope it made sense, right? Because sometimes someone is a bad actor by habit and is not trying to be a bad actor, right? Yeah, you get what I mean? Yeah. Because you can see like, oh, okay, this guy is just saying a bunch of stuff again and again. He's saying the same thing, and he just wrote like 4 paragraphs that he could have written as 1 paragraph, right? Also, perhaps last thing I'll say about that topic. People do not give enough importance to language. Language is very important. We actually think in languages because they are our interface to the world. We enter the habit of restricting ourselves to them when thinking about things. And yes, that is limiting, and it's very hard to get out of this cage. But to be in this cage and also be unskilled is very, very limiting. So that's something else that the practice of writing and such do. Becoming linguistically skilled is very, very important. it makes you better at thinking, because we tend to habitually restrict the way we think by words, right? Well, with words, perhaps. And just to be clear, once again, what I'm saying is not like grammatical correctness, right? What I'm saying is not, oh, not making typos. No, this, like, that's the easy thing, right? It's easy to make mistakes in that, and it's easy to fix mistakes in that. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? Skill in language expression is something way more complex than, oh, you typed this thing wrong. You gotta say car and not core, right? That's not it. And I don't think people think like that anymore. I think they think like language is just like, I don't know, something like, oh, okay, all you get for being skilled in language is like, oh, you can read this thing. But that's not it at all. That's not it. If you lack the true breadth of conceptualization that language provides, you necessarily breadth of thought, a bit of a truism. Okay, yeah, if you lack the true breadth of conceptualization the language provides, you necessarily lack breadth of thought. I agree. Yes. Yes. Language also sets a bar. And people don't like things which set bars anymore, but they are very important. Right? It's like, in order to debate someone in letter form, you got to know how to write and to read and analyze text and produce concise text. And those skills are all put at test when you engage one of these debates. And that's what I meant before when I said this allows people who are looking at this from the outside to quickly identify like an unskilled individual. Whereas there's way more things you can do to make excuses for your lack of skill, or pretend like it isn't a lack of skill when you're sending messages over Discord. Like, you can go, oh, I'm writing this from my phone, I'm on the train, I'm not gonna write with grammatical correctness and stuff. You get what I mean? You know what I mean? You have the chance to do that. But if you're writing a fucking letter and you can write it over like 2 days, you cannot say I'm on the train. That's why it's completely unreadable. Okay, I think enough of this. We've spent like almost an hour talking about stuff like that, which is actually cool. I love talking about this kind of stuff. Hey, here's an idea. Maybe, well, I think that's gonna get even less views, but maybe I should make streams talking specifically about that kind of thing. Like, hey, let's discuss this idea, right? Let's talk about this kind of thing. Let's explore this idea and the consequences of this thing and where it comes from and how you develop yourself in that manner, or if that is any good. Maybe we should do that. Maybe I should do that kind of thing. I'll think about that. I don't plan on doing anything like that anytime soon, okay? But it's now, and it has become an idea. It has entered the idea realm of Volatxs' twisted mind. It was fun. It was very fun. I love talking about stuff like that. Anyway, I think I am hopping off now. It's now where I am, it's midnight 18. I think you have to go to work soon or something like that, I believe. So thank you so much for being here. We got some other viewers who popped in and out. At some point we had like 10 viewers here, so that was pretty good. In like 7 minutes, oh god. Okay. So it's good timing that I'm leaving now. Have a nice night. Have a good have a good time at work. And if you are a government assassin, hopefully you will not get discovered and killed by the enemy. All right? See you, and see you guys. I will make this available as a VOD on Twitch, which will disappear after like a week, and I will make this available as a VOD on the Volatxs stream archive, which is the YouTube channel linked on this on the Twitch channel. You also find it linked on Twitter and on my GitHub, I think. Okay? So that's it. Goodbye, guys. God bless you all.